Hi everyone. Right, some of you will remember that I got very excited when I got back from holiday and found that the lovely Wendy from Toonpish Crafts had very kindly sent me a little present, and I've got two of these beautiful silicone inserts. Now I've got this one with turtles on, and I've got one with little masks and flowers. It's got like a weird festival feel to this one, I think. Yeah, it's kind of interesting and strange. Now, I'm going to use the little turtles one today, and I'm going to use this little bowl mould because I think that's going to be a nice easy shape to work with, and I'm also going to use lots of different mica powders. Some of these are nail art ones, some of them are flakes, most of them are from Resin except for the nail art ones. Now Wendy has got these on sale in her shop. They're ever so sensibly priced as well. I'm really impressed at the price she's putting them out at, to be honest. I think she's undercutting herself a bit there. Oh, sticks well. I'll also put you a link, so I'll put you a link to Wendy's shop. I'll also put you a link below for the video that Wendy has made about the making of these, because she's also been kind enough to even make us a video on how to make them, if you want to do your own, which I will have a go at some point. Obviously using completely different patterns and things to what Wendy's doing, and probably just for my own use. So I'll make a video on that. Now I'm going to need to cut this, which I didn't want to. I didn't want to cut it because it's so pretty as it is, but I'm going to have to. So I'm trying to cut it as near to the edges as I can so I don't waste any. So yes, it's going to be that corner. And watching Wendy's video, the easiest way to draw on the silicone seems to be with a metallic pen, so as I can get my outline. So apparently Sharpies didn't work as well as Wendy thought, so I'm going to just draw around with one of these pens, which looks like the same as the one Wendy's using in her video. And for anybody who hasn't used a silicone inlay before, there's different ways of using these. I'm going to stick with a fairly traditional way, and that is to basically plop it in the bottom of a bowl. This mould makes a little bowl like this. This was my prototype with it. I made the mould myself, and well, I'll show you how I made this particular bowl in a later video. Right, let's see how easy this is to cut. Wendy said use big scissors. Where's my bigger scissors? These are the biggest I've got handy. They're not that big, but hopefully big enough. So yeah, what you do is you plonk it, you cut it to the size you want, you plonk it into the bottom of your mould, and of course then the resin will take, or I'd imagine any other media, so if you like these eco resins, like Aquacast or Jesmonite or whatever, they will take the shape, the pattern from your mould. You've effectively modified your mould. Ooh, I've got a bit where I didn't go quite round there. It's near enough, near enough. And you can do various things with them once they're in there. You could just leave them plain, just as a lovely textured surface. But I think what most people do is they fill in the texture with something. Now, which way round to do this? I think it goes that way, is what we want. So what will happen then is this texture will be embossed into the base of my bowl. Now I think, because so I don't get the silicone, the mica powder everywhere, I'm going to take the bowl off, mould off here for a minute, and while I put the colours in onto this, then lift it carefully into the mould. Now the way I'm going to put the colours in is mostly going to be with makeup brushes and micro brushes. They are just like very tiny Q-tips. They're so good for getting into little details and all sorts of other things. So I shall certainly be using these as well. I don't know whether these flakes will stick. They do to some silicone and not to others. I know Wendy uses the Let's Resin silicone, which I also do. It's superb. So I think, if I remember rightly, these flakes do stick to that. Yes, they do. There we go. And now I hope you can see what's going on here. Actually, let me zoom you in, and I'll try not to keep going off camera. There we are. So I hope you can see what's going on here, but these flakes are sticking beautifully into the little parts of the turtle where I'm putting them. Okay, so we now know that the Let's Resin silicone kit, it's a 2-part silicone, I know, it's wonderful to work with, and your little flakes will stick to it. Flakes don't always, these are chameleon flakes, the Let's Resin ones again, they don't always stick to every mould. It has to be very shiny. Isopropanol alcohol, and well, you probably know, resin people, we all use this a lot, don't we? There we go. So I can clean up like that. I'll leave this little brush sat in the alcohol. So where are we going next? There's another turtle here. I'm going to do the turtles in green and purple, I think. Green and blue? Let's go green and blue. Now there is something else I'm going to try with this as well. I'm going to try combining 2 techniques in one. I haven't yet jumped on the, as Claire put it, Claire's Crafty Corner, I think you called it, jumping on the bandwagon of the Tea and Art raindrop technique. Anybody who hasn't seen that technique done, it involves creating like little, they look like raindrops on the surface of your resin, but they're actually integrated into it somehow. It's hard to explain. I'll put you a link for a video showing exclusively that. I'll probably make a video as well at some point, because hell, why not? But I think what I'll probably do is link you to Tea and Art's one, if I can find it still, because I believe, as far as I know, that Tea and Art created the technique. It is certainly nothing that I can take credit for. None of this is, in fact. Incidentally, folks, if I ever say in any of my videos, oh, I think I might have invented this technique, for a start, I will never be sure, because I don't intend to spend hours going through videos of half the world just to make sure I'm not laying claim to something that I haven't created. I will say so if it's a new technique to me. Using an insert, by the way, this is new to me. Not used inserts before. But if ever you spot for something that you think, oh, I've seen so-and-so doing that, and you think that they created the technique, please let me know. I do really want to make sure that artists get credit for ideas. Equally, if you think I have invented something, let me know. It'd be brilliant if I did invent something. Right, so we've got the backs of our little turtles. Now, shall we go for... Actually, this is a purpley greeny. Yeah, let's go with that for the sides of the turtles, because that's just a variation. Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah, there we go. Right, I'm going to fast forward this because you will get bored of watching me doing this, I think. So I'll fast forward it for you and we'll come back to normality when I get onto the next stage. I will be using, as you'll see, various ones of these powders and flakes to do each of the little details. I'll get on to using the nail art powders as well as the chameleon powders, so you'll get to see a bit of all sorts being used here. The links for everything, as always, will be below. Now if you're thinking, oh, where's these links, what's she talking about? If you look at the description below this video, it should be below it, it depends how you've got your viewer set up and what device you're watching it on, but if you look at the description, then you open it up, you'll find there's a drop down. If you can only see a line of it, it's just that you need to do the drop down. And once you've dropped that down, literally stuff flying everywhere. Once you drop that down, you'll find all of the links for everything I've used. If there's anything you spot that I've used that I've completely missed putting the link in, then just let me know and I will dig it out for you. But I think that's going to be pretty. So the next job is a clean-up job. Now, for those, again, who haven't maybe used these powders before, just remember that if you're painting them on like this, what you will see, because you're looking at the back here, so what you will actually see when you turn out your mould is whatever colours were touching the silicone. Okay, they will kind of absorb themselves into the surface of the resin, so they won't come off, be nice and firmly stuck. But anything you put over now, if there's already mica underneath it, you won't see. So just want to make sure you all know that. So I'm just using this bit of alcohol to get this off, the surplus, and one of these little micro brushes. I have left it a little bit messy intentionally. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Right, that'll do, and I've noticed I've missed the middle of a flower there. What colour shall we do that? I know, I wanted to get some silver in somewhere, didn't I? This is one of those nail art ones again. Let's just put a little dot of silver. Here we are. Now this bowl does have a lip all the way around, so I'm going to need to make sure that my resin gets right down into that. But basically I'm just going to place this carefully onto here. Now I've got a white background, I can see that I've got more of the mica that I missed with. And I can see that these colours are going to be quite pale and subtle. But I'm happy with the way that looks. That'll do me nicely. So I'm going to mix the resin up. The resin I'm using is Vista 1, which is what I'm trying at the moment. So far I'm not getting any allergic reactions to it. Now obviously I use PPE. I do my best to be careful. Goggles, mask, gloves as you can see, and so on, but I've had some slip-ups in the past with other brands where somehow I've still managed to get a horrible reaction. So I'm trying this one. So far, after a couple of uses of it, I'm finding it really nice to use, and I've not had any reactions at all. I've also got a deep pour one from Arc that I'm trying, and I'm finding that very good as well, and another one from, what brand's that, Deep Cast? No, what's the actual brand? I'm having a look. There's another brand I've been playing with as well. I'll fill you in on that when I can. But I've got a couple of the deep pour ones that I seem to be getting on really quite well with. So there we go. I think this is fairly well mixed. The only thing I'm finding quite weird with this Vista one is the... Yeah, it's easy to mix because it's a one-to-one, nice and easy. But I find it doesn't sort of go clear in the pot to tell me when it's fully mixed. I'm finding part A is really thick. So I have had it on a heat mat to try to kind of thin it initially. Just hoping it doesn't cure in the pot. Now what I'm going to mix in with it is this. This is a nail art powder I've had for ages, and it's got a purpley pinky shine to it. If you can see that, you can probably see it on the lid, look. Purpley pinky shine. So I'm going to put a bit of that in. And I'm going to put a bit of a very similar one. You can see how long I've had these. Look at the state of the pots. This one is more of a bluey shine. It looks like they're both going the same colour, actually. But I'm going to give that a good old mix. I just kind of want a shimmer on the background. You can see that on the surface, isn't that pretty? Is that going to be enough to make these colours stand out? Not sure, might put a bit of white in as well. In fact, I think I will. I'll just put a dot of white pigment in. This is a brand I've been trying out lately. I usually use Resin pigments for pretty much everything, but I came across these in a nice colour range and I thought, oh, let's give those a try. Again, links below. There we are, so I'm putting a bit of white in there. Just wanted a bit of opacity with it. There you go. Wanted like almost like a pearl effect. Now, I've got my ultraviolet lamp at the ready. Because what we're going to do is some raindrops. So to do this, basically you're working onto the surface that is going to be the front of your piece, and you put a dot. I'm using J. Diction's High Viscosity Ultraviolet Curing Resin for this, simply because I think that's going to give me more of a dome because it is high viscosity. So I'm going to put some more dots in here like this, and I'll probably go over those with a powder as well, give them a bit of a colour on the back. You'll see what I'm doing here is just curing them a little bit. I'll cure them properly in a moment before I pour the main resin in. Just want to get them to solidify rather than dribble off all over the place. I want them to stay domed, so I'm just giving them a little ping with the lamp as I go, rather than do them all at once and then hit them with a UV lamp at the end. Now I could put this resin into a needle tip bottle, I guess, to make even smaller dots, but I'm quite liking the size of these dots. They will do nicely. Just wanted bubbles. I want it to look like bubbles. If you can hear whistling in the background, that's my other half. He whistles very nicely, as you can hear. He's a happy chappy. That'll do. So I'm going to let those cure up properly. Get the little lamp over them all. And then I'm going to put a powder onto those as well. I think this is, you can see it's bubbling already and it's getting warm. So I think we're just going to go for it. It's quite pearly. I'm still not convinced it's pearly as much as I wanted. So I'm going to chuck one last lot in. In fact, I'm emptying the whole pot in because I might as well. So that should be very pearly. It's going to be extremely, dare I say, girly. This little bowl. And I can see I've still got bits of powder where I don't want it really, but hey, never mind. So that's thoroughly mixed now. There's no two ways about it. That is mixed. And I'm just going to give this a final little brush over to make sure that powder's stuck properly. I was going to brush over the back and do a whole back coat, but because I've ended up with this being so very pearly, I don't think I'm going to need to. One thing I am going to do though is get round the edges with some alcohol. I'm trying not to dislodge the powder I've put on while I do it, and that is simply because I know that this mould does have corners and edges where it is quite likely that I'll get bubbles where I don't want. So here we go, we're just pouring it on now and hoping that the mica stays put where I've put it. And you know what? That doesn't take anywhere near as much resin as I thought it did. I'm going to pull the sides out like this to make sure it's gone down all the way around. I really thought this mould took a lot more resin than that. Now I'm going round like this with my little brush because I'm trying to avoid any little bubbles getting stuck. And I've mixed up way too much resin. Way too much. So, what mould have I got handy? Oh, this is new. Random elephant. Time for a random elephant. Never know when you're going to need a random elephant, do you? Goodness me. Oh, I mixed up way too much. I've almost got enough to fill my elephant. You know what, I've got enough to fill my elephant. It's not nothing almost about it. Oh, what am I like? The only thing is I would say is that's going to cure fast because I would have normally used a deep pour resin for that. Now I can see in here that the bubbles are already surfacing. That's good. I have got the heat mat on underneath this as well. This is cute, isn't it? I should be able to show you the little pearly elephant as well when I demold the bowl. It'll probably flash cure or something stupid, the elephant. So I should really have used a deep pour resin for that, but you know, it's a new mould, it was there, I grabbed it. Take the consequences. It won't wreck the mould anyway. It has to overheat horrifically to damage the mould. Let's give the elephant a squeeze. Sorry, this is a bit off camera, but you know, it's not what the video is about, is it? Let's see what he comes out like. Now, I'm going to give both of these a spray with the alcohol. As you can see, there's a little bit of overpour going on here, but it will drop back a little bit once all the bubbles surface. But I am pleased with that effect I've got with the powder. This could be extremely pretty. So, as I said, it should drop back a bit. If not, I'll trim it off anyway. And we will be back for the demold and see what we've got. So, see you in a few hours. Okay then, I'm being impatient as always, but I want to see if this is ready to demold. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yes, it is. Now the bowl that I took the mould from when I made this mould in the first place is like a satin finish, so the sides of this may well be like that. And yeah, look, it's still soft. So the bottom, got my little bit of pearl essence running through it, a little bit. Let's turn it over. Okay, here we go. Yep, so that blue pearl essence is showing around the edge. Now what we need to do is lift out this insert. Obviously once you've got these inserts you can use them over and over. Just need to try and get it out. Now the bowl is still, look, it's still very bendy. Now that should mean that it's easier for me to get at the insert. Here we go. And pull it out. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, isn't that lovely? And yes, my little raindrops have worked. Look, can you see these little raindrops? But all of this, there's a little bit where it's got a little bit under the edge of the mould, under the edge of the insert. Only a little bit. So what I'll do is, when it's all dry and cured properly, oh, that's adorable. Yeah, sorry, where was I? I'm getting distracted by shininess. When it's cured properly, I'll just get, actually I might be able to get a little knife at it now, but I'll just do a little bit of trimming around there anyway, just to finish it off a little bit. So I obviously didn't press the inlay down sufficiently around the edges, but you know, let me off, it's the first time I've used one. Wendy, if you're watching, I hope you like what I did with this as the first usage. That pearlescence has come through in the base, it's come through on the edges, and the colour flips have all worked. And what is nice to know is that the chameleon flakes do stick beautifully to your inlays. I'm most particularly impressed with that because, as I said during the making part, they don't stick to everything. I've got quite a few moulds that I just can't use those with because they don't stick, and they certainly do here. And using the water droplets in combination, can you see these little water droplets with this as well? That's also worked. So really pleased with that. Colours would have pinged more if I'd put this onto black, of course, but I did want like pale colours. This is going to go in my bathroom. I wanted it to be a little bit aquatic and a little bit flowery and girly. So, mission accomplished. There we go. Thanks again, Wendy, for the mould. Inlay, rather. It's come out lovely. Look, everyone. See? Ready to use again. Haven't even had to clean it. Fabulous. So, thanks everyone. Thanks to all my subscribers as well. I don't know if I've thanked you during this video yet. I don't think I have. I appreciate your support more than you will ever know. It means so much to me. Now, don't forget that I do requests, as I always say. If there's anything you'd like to see me do at some point, pop it in the comments below or in the community tab for me, and I will get to it as soon as I can. I do know I've got some backed up. I've got a little bit of a waiting list of things to try out, but I will not forget any of them. They're on the list. Thank you for the ideas so far. And I will see you for the next video. Take care all. Bye.